like Jesus. Let me say something. I didn't get a chance to say something. Yeah, I agree with you. In Genesis 1, it was a plurality. It was God and his son together. I don't see how anybody can deny that. Because when you look at chapter verse 12 through 18, you will see there are three very things that scripture identifies. Number one is that God created his firstborn creation was his dear son. And so that's the first thing that's identified, that God's firstborn creature was his son. And he referred to his son as his dear son. And the second thing this scripture identifies is God's son is also referred to and identified as the beginning, quote, the beginning. And the third thing is a description of some identifying characteristics that exclusively identify God's dear son. And that is the fact that God's dear son in this scripture says he was responsible for creating everything in heaven and in earth, everything invisible, invisible, whether it's principalities, powers, or dominions. So that's an exclusive characteristic that describes God's son. So anywhere you see God's son, he's going to have that particular power. So now when you go to John 1:1, who is that word there with God in John 1:1? Well, we know who that word is his dear son. Why? Because in John 1:3, it says, everything that was created by the word. There was nothing created that was not created by the word. So now we have that exclusive power and authority that God gave only to his son, now being associated with this entity that is with God in the beginning, called the Word. So now we know for surety this person in John 1:1 is God's dear son that he created in Colossians 1. And so when you go to Genesis 1, you see the plurality, God and his son there at the beginning. Remember, Colossians 1 identifies God's son as the beginning. So we see in Genesis 1, this person that is with God because he's responsible for creating everything that was created. And that's very simple. It's not something very complicated. All you have to do is read it and don't have any assumptions already in your mind looking for some evidence to prove your assumptions. Read it and let the evidence take you where it takes you. That's all I got to say.
All right, thank you, sir. Apostle Santonio, the Haitian, y'all got something to say before I get up out of here? Apostle Santonio?
I'm just listening, my brother.